Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you try their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course, the king of all, those cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Biggest and best I've ever had. Probably be the best you've ever had. Just like those Prime Angus and Wagyu burgers. Wow! Half-pound monsters. Imagine eating a couple of those and having a giant brick in your belly, but feeling really good. Check them out at UppercutChops.com or find out what's for dinner at 702-799-9935. That's UppercutChops.com, 702-799-9935. Give them a call. Find out what's for dinner. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television, also Hotel TV and over 600,000 rooms from coast to coast. We are here with Black Jack McDowell, and look at this hat. Jack, what is the story with this hat and this cool T-shirt? What's this all about?
Well, with all this different stuff going on in the game of baseball right now, you know, I had to put that on the hat.
Yeah.
Osbid, old school baseball is better. But then a lot of people were like, old school baseball, what are you, just being racist? And I'm like, oh wait, they called old school way back when? I said, okay, so no, what I'm talking about is, you know, my growing up and my playing, 70s through 90s. So I made the shirt that had that too, so no one would think I'm just talking about, you know, a racism thing. No, I'm just talking about the game of baseball.
I know. What else could it possibly be? Old school equals what it used to be, right? It's not, has nothing to do with race whatsoever.
No, the biggest change going on is baseball it's always been a complexity game, a game of complexity, and you have to really be mentally checking out every single pitch on everything that you do on the field. And now they're trying to push everything to just athleticism and not, you know, the real baseball stuff. And I don't understand that, because if you play that real baseball game and be smart and do smart things, you're going to beat the other team.
Yeah, I mean, whatever happened to the old students of the game idea? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to giving people hot foots on the bench when, I don't know, maybe it's 15-0 or something and nothing's going on, right? And you got a guy out there mopping up, maybe in the 8th inning. How many hot foots have you given, if any?
Well, who knows?
Right. Well, you know, we think about that, right? Or the bubble gum on the hat. Geez, of course, I've fallen victim to that one a few times. But anyway, go back to the students of the game thing and talk about students of the College World Series by chance.
Oh, yeah. Well, watching my old school Stanford for the third time there, and they got knocked out, you know, and it's frustrating because I really wanted them to keep going and keep going and keep going. And watching the games, you know, that's really the only games I watched were the regional games that were on TV, the super regionals, and then the 2 games that they lost in the World Series. And I saw so many things that I would like to make adjustments to. Just looking at it going, wait, what are you guys doing? Why are they doing this? But it's pretty much everything going on these levels of baseball. And everything going on, like they're pushing so much on, you know, pitching just about velocity and spin rate. That's all that really matters. And that's not the truth of the game of baseball.
You know, I hear so much about spin rate and pitch count, and I don't know. I mean, I think about guys like Danny McClain with all those complete games, right? All the 30 wins in 2 seasons back to back, for example. Look at all those complete games. Think about yourself. How many complete games did you pitch? How many times did you go into the 8th and 9th inning? And now pitchers aren't even really allowed to go into the 6th inning for the most part because they have that quality start stat. What's that all about?
Well, they're pushing it, and the metrics stuff that has pushed that is they say that, oh, the third time that a hitter faces a pitcher, they're going to have the best opportunity to get a hit off them. So we're going to take the guys out before that. That's not the truth, though. That's not the reality. Sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes it's not. This baseball is about the end result and how good guys are pitching. I mean, back in our day, it was, you started pitching and they would say, we have to get after this guy right away, because once he gets his mechanics and gets throwing better and better and better as he moves on through the game, he's going to be tougher and tougher to hit. That was what was always said. Well, wait a minute. Does that have nothing to do with nothing? No, it just happens how it happens.
Check.
Some games you throw good, some games you don't.
Think about this. Okay, when you and I were a lot younger, and let's say we were in high school ball, whatever, right? So you had how many pitches, right? And then as you take the next step up, you had how many pitches you were bringing to the table. Today, it seems like a starting pitcher has 3 pitches. Maybe back when we were younger, maybe we had 4. I mean, 4 that we had some reasonably good command on. And now, of course, you've got a closer. In some cases, all they have is 1 pitch. And think about this. What are the odds of dialing in on that 1, possibly 2 pitches? Well, at 2 pitches, we know they're going to throw it at least, I don't know, maybe a 60-40 or a 70-30 or something like that, right? So your chances of guessing right are a lot better, right or wrong?
Yeah, it's being smart and trying to be smarter and adjust to, how did he just swing at that fastball away? He just took a curveball. That means he's not looking for a curveball. He's looking for a fastball. So I got a chance to beat him with a curveball or 2 curveballs later. It's stuff like that is smart. Right. That's what goes, and that's disappearing from the game of baseball. Now, all they care about is velocity. And the funny thing about velocity, I want to give you people out there listening up, this is reality. This is not opinion. Okay, the velocity they are doing now is a different measurement of how they did it in our time. In our time, it was as it crossed home plate, what was the measuring velocity, and now it's right out of your hand. They measure the velocity. Okay, but either way, let's do some math and metrics right now. Okay, here comes some McDowell metrics. You have a 10-mile-an-hour difference, 100 miles an hour versus 90 miles an hour. How much quicker is the ball getting to home plate? Well, if you do the math metrics on that, 10-mile-an-hour difference on, a 55-foot release to get to home plate, it's 1/3 of a foot difference. 10-mile-an-hour difference is 1/3 of a foot. So the ball gets there this quicker
4 inches.
than 100 miles an hour. So is that really important? Is it really important? And now a lot of the pitchers are just yanking their body to try to get that quicker right out of their hand. But guess what? If you go straight ahead and get forward, go back and look at Randy Johnson's change and adjustment where he was way out and forward. Okay, so 10-mile-an-hour difference is 1/3 of a foot difference to get to you. Well, guess what? If you release the ball 2 feet closer, that's getting there quicker. So what's the difference? There really isn't. It's not about, and the other thing is, it's not just about velocity. It's where can you put the pitches? Can you control and command all of your pitches to be able to do it? It's not about velocity. It's about pitching.
Folks, by the way, this comes from a Cy Young Award winner, a 3-time All-Star, league leader in wins. Look, this guy knows what he's talking about. If you're going to try to question what he's saying, you better do your homework, because I think Jack knows just a little bit about the pitching business. And Jack, another thing about this, we think about everyone overthrowing here in our last minute of the segment. People overthrowing, coming down in a position where they're not ready to field the ball. And yet, by the way, they can only throw maybe 2 pitches at best because they've got their get-me-over pitch, right? And then they're going to go ahead and experiment with some of this other stuff. The reality is the hitter knows how to dial in on what's coming, and chances are it could be dead red because maybe that's the only thing they could get over the plate. Right? And so what are they doing? They're just sitting there saying, all right, come on, bring that cheese, man. I'm going to take it right over the wall. And nowadays with that launch angle thing, which I want to talk about in the next segment, right? So a lot of those balls are leaving the yard on top of it.
Well, yeah, but if you know what a launch angle swing is and the guy really has that all the time, that's easy to beat.
Right.
If you have a man, that is real easy to beat.
Yeah, well, and that's a whole nother discussion. In fact, let's leave that for the next segment because let's face it, that uppercut swing is a whole different animal and everything else. And I see one guy in Major League Baseball that's really doing it, and he kind of reminds me of Tony Gwynn up there, and that's Luis Ariz. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about Luis and his chances for 400 and that whole launch angle thing because I think Luis is probably the next guy that could possibly hit 400. This guy's had 3 5-for-5s already this season, and he's going to have more. Don't go anywhere. Last more to come here with Blackjack McDowell. Remember, this hat, this cool shirt, check them out at Stickman111 at yahoo.com. You can
Stick Jack.
It's Stick Jack. Sorry, Stickjack111 at yahoo.com to get this cool hat and shirt right here, folks. Don't go anywhere. Last more to come here on The Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford.
Really?
He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from The Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Didn't you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? That was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby, and let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone? Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible. That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes! Only on the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports? You get music?
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio. It stands for All Ages Media Programming Television. Folks, this segment is brought to you in part by this wonderful hat and shirt. And here to tell you all about it is Black Jack McDowell. Jack, what's the story with this hat and this shirt? Tell everybody about it and where they can find them.
Well, it's the Osbib. Old school baseball is better. That's just... Old school is just my time. That sounds old school. I'm old enough to say I was old school even 30 years ago, something like that. And so I started making those hats and shirts because I've been coaching so much and then watching so many weird things going on in our game that aren't helping the game get better. So I want to prove to people that, guess what? This, and this are going to be better things. So don't change that. Just play the game of baseball. But the shirt and hats, if you guys want some of those, you can contact me. My email, stickjack, STICKJACK 111. Oh, Papa Dog. Oh, my puppy's yelling. I think I'm almost hearing that the postman's here at the front door.
Okay, what was that email again, Jack?
It's stickjack111@yahoo.com.
All right, and that's by Cy Young Award winner, 3-time All-Star, certainly even better than that. Major League Baseball wins leader, that would be Black Jack McDowell. This guy knows a lot about pitching. In the last segment, as we were closing out, I was talking a little bit about Luis Arraez. And the Miami Marlins have a guy that kind of looks like Tony Gwynn up at the plate. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's doing good.
This guy, he doesn't have this big uppercut swing. He's got a short stroke. He's a really tough out. And 5 for 5 seemed to be a commonplace. This guy's getting 4 or 5 hits a game. He's hitting 400 as we get later in the season. I think he's got a real shot to be the next guy to hit 400. What do you think?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, think about it. 99% of Hall of Famers are just like a little bit over 300 batting average. Batting is hard in baseball, and that's the other thing I tell about pitching. Wait a minute. Throw strikes. Don't give free, because even the best hitters in the game of baseball are going to get out 7 out of 10 times.
Right. And what I look at is a guy like him. He frustrates pitchers because he doesn't swing hard. The guy just puts the ball in play, and he will hit it into the ground. He hits a lot of line drives. He's a line drive machine. But at the same time, he doesn't hit the ball in the air. Why? Because he doesn't have this big uppercut swing like a lot of these hitters today for some reason. I heard Miguel Cabrera talking about this uppercut swing, and he was selling the audience on this uppercut swing. Yeah, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. But the reality is, how many balls can you put in play that have that 15% extra chance of an error, hence the ground ball, Jack, as you were discussing previously? How many guys can actually do that and hit it out of the park with consistency and hit over 300?
Well, that is another thing. The metrics stuff has made it a frustrating thing to hit a single or bunt a base hit. We just want home runs. That's all metrics cares about, is I want a home run. How about just scoring runs and playing the game? And guess what? You ain't just going to be able to hit a home run. And why waste outs when, you're trying to do a swing that's not going to put this specific pitch in good area? And that's the thing. Different swings are important for different pitches. Think about it. Are you going to have the same type of swing for an up and away strike fastball or a down and away strike fastball or an up and in strike fastball or a down and in strike fastball? You better have just the right way to take the bat to the ball. Yeah, sometimes it's going to be an upper swing when the ball's down low and you've got to get down there and lift it up. Yes. But you're going to try an upper swing on a upper thigh to your chest. That's going to be lazy pop-ups, foul balls on pitches that you could crush sometimes to the gap.
Jack, let me ask you another question, and this is a basic question on hitting. Okay, so let me grab a bat here. Let me set this Cardinal down here. All right. Kind of a fun bat. This is for all you White Sox fans out there. White Sox Astros World Series bat. Okay, so here we are, and you've got the average Joe holding their bat like this, right? You look at it, your knuckles lined up big and little. Now let's take this from a different angle. Now, in my limited pitching career versus yours, Jack, did you ever look at how the batter was holding that bat and to see if they were rotating their knuckles to big and big? Did you ever look at that? And the reason I ask is because what I've noticed, and of course, which is just mathematics, we think about geometry and physics and everything else, because when we're lined up big and big, what happens, that batter rolls that bat over the strike zone, and that bat goes through the strike zone a lot faster than somebody who's dragging the bat through for power with big and little lined up. Do you ever look for that, Jack? And especially guys that can get around on the ball, you can't bust them in because they could get around. If they're lining this up, you try to bust them inside, they could yank you right down the line and take you out of the park. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, yes, but also the fair assessment is the reality. Hey, you want to use metrics that are important. Yes. Does this guy hit inside pitches better, or is he hitting outside pitches better? They have that stuff. That shows you the importance. Oh, okay. Well, then what am I going to do? How am I going to pitch to this guy? Don't throw this pitch unless it's a trick pitch that I want to do. And so that is part of the game. The metrics part that's smart is the reality of the end results, not predetermining what's going to happen. Just giving you, this guy sort of does this and this, and they do that with pitchers. Well, the pitcher's, in a 1-1 count, he's going to probably throw his changeup 80% of the time, so be looking for it. The whole thing is just trying to get a feel for how they're going at you. Same way from a hitter to a pitcher, from a pitcher to a hitter. How you threw a ball, felt high, up and away, and he fouled it off. He didn't get to it. You beat him that way. Well, guess what? That isn't the pitch he's sitting on that he really wanted to crush. So now you know that, okay, I can get that later on and maybe get him out. That's the certain things that you got to remember.
Jack, when I think about power hitters, so we have another baseball guy that comes onto our show. His name's Darrell Evans. You probably know Darrell Evans, right? Great friend of mine and great friend of the show. And Darrell would almost get upset when a power hitter hits away from a shift. Remember when they had the shift, right? He would get mad. He's like, no, let it loose and try to hit a home run every time. Because he had 414 home runs. Well, let's face it, not everybody can hit 400 plus home runs, whatever. But I believe that you should take a base when you could take a base. Make it a team game. Don't try to hit home runs all the time. And just do what you're supposed to do. At I guess, the new Comiskey Park, think of the old Comiskey Park, right? They had that fundamentals deck. And you know what we lost in baseball? Fundamental baseball. Where'd it go?
I don't know. I'm not sure. The funny thing, okay, let's do another metrics. Okay, how many home runs per at bat does the top home run hitter get? Let's see. Okay. So Judge had 60 last year or something like that.
He's hitting, one out of every 11 at bats or something like that? 10 or 11?
Okay. And then...
Yeah, but how many strikeouts do we have?
Well, that's the whole thing. And if you're a good hitter, you're going to get a base hit 3 out of 10. So it just depends on situational. You're leading off the inning, or you're up by a couple runs, you're down by 2 runs, or what? You got to get guys on base. Well, guess what? Just try to put the ball in play correctly. Get a guy on third, less than 2 outs. Just put the ball in play. You don't need a home run. Just put it in play. A ground ball will work. Hard ground ball will work. A swinging bunt would work.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to forget the idea that, look, your job is to move runners over, especially late in the game when that tying run is maybe on, or you're down by a couple and you got a guy in first. What are you going to do? You're going to hit a double play or some crap like that? You can try to pull an outside pitch and end up beating it into the ground and having turn a 6-4-3? No, move the runners over, get guys in, get yourself closer. Yeah, so maybe by chance if somebody hits the ball at the right everything, maybe that game-tying home run could happen, but you don't have to swing for the fences. Do your job, move the runners over like you're supposed to, and baseball is a lot more fundamentally sound at that point.
Well,
yeah. All right, take 30 seconds to talk about that. Let's go to break.
Well, the thing about hitting a home run is, do you hit every single pitch in every single area you can hit a home run? Or do you just know, okay, if this pitch is right here, I got a chance to crush this one? That is the reality. So wait till you see that pitch.
Right. And how many people are just looking for one pitch? And, oh, by the way, maybe you've got the tying run is on deck, and you better do something to get yourself on base so you give your team a chance to maybe tie that game and take it a little bit further. Back here with Blackjack McDowell. Remember, stickjack111 at yahoo.com for this cool hat and this cool shirt right here. Old school baseball is better. 70s through 90s with a USA flag on it. Folks, don't go anywhere. Last more to come here at the Sports Circus. Back in a few minutes.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are podcasts, which can be found on your favorite podcast platform. Also on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. They're everywhere. You can't get away from us. Also, remember, you can also watch this show on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, WOW Cable TV affiliates in select markets, and Hotel TV in over 600,000 rooms from coast to coast. And you can learn all about these amazing products, just like this one right here. We've got to give Blackjack McDowell a chance to talk about his old school baseball is better. And Jack, here we are again talking about it. You know why? Because we can. What's this all about?
Well, it's all about that there's been so many changes to the approach of the game of baseball. And yeah, I've been coaching it and helping kids and coaching at every level. And guess what? If these things that have been changed are actually really good and help win games and help guys get better and help this and help that, of course, yeah, we're going to go with it. But the things that aren't, we're against. And it's not just we're against the change of the game. Just don't, that's not going to help what goes on. And that's our push of, guess what? We've seen this for however many years of what really works, so this other thing that they say is working isn't really working.
Yeah, all these these analytics, they could chop up and they could spin the story on the analytics all they want. But at the end of the day, if you're playing fundamental baseball, that's really what wins. Historically, that's what wins. It's not because you have this launch angle or you've got this shift, so you got to hit it this particular way. Do the right things if you're a hitter. Do the right things at the plate. You don't have to swing for the fences every time. Put the ball in play and hear from a Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, a three-time All-Star Jack. Think about this from the other side of the fence, the other side. Now, not you on the hill, but you at the plate. What were the things that made you the most apprehensive? When you saw a particular hitter, what were the things that you were looking for? How am I going to get this guy out? Because he's maybe a 300-plus hitter, a bona fide 300-plus hitter.
Well, you have an idea of the pitches that he really does well. If he's a better inside swinger or a better outside swinger, or he can do both. But he'll chase a high pitch, he'll chase a low pitch. You never know. There's different things that different guys can do and can't do. Because hitting in baseball is one of the hardest sports things to do. And so that's what you have to learn about. And the thing about pitching and being able to control yourself and be better isn't just about velocity, because, okay, wow, the guys that throw the hardest in the game, supposedly, right? Can no one hit them? Is no one hitting because it's so hard? And is it much different from a guy that throws 10 miles an hour less? No, it's about command. And it ain't about, this guy's spin rate on his slider. He should throw more sliders because they don't hit his slider very much because of his spin rate. No, because he set them up for that slider, and it kind of looks like a fastball. He threw the fastball here, and then he throws the slider that starts there and cuts in. That's what really works.
You know what, Jack? What we're seeing in today's time, as I see it, is we're constantly seeing the matchup of power against power. We don't see the crafty pitchers up there, like the Greg Maddoxes of the world, for example. Greg threw in the upper 80s most of the time, right? And he was, in my opinion, probably one of the best in the last 50 years. The guy just, as a Gold Glover, always in position, but the guy knew how to pitch, just like you, Jack. And there's a difference. There's a guy that comes right over the top, and his command's going to be there. You know that he's not going to be all over the plate, so to say. You have a lot better command thrown over the top than these guys that are coming three quarters. And talk about the difference between over the top and maybe three quarters or even sidearm.
Well, to me, that all just happens to be, how do you throw the baseball? Did you grow up and, you threw kind of three quarters? That's how you threw from playing the outfield or shortstop. That's just your throwing position. Well, then now you're a pitcher. That's pretty close to how you want to do it to get there. There's not just a specific way that you have to throw the baseball to be able to pitch well. You just have to know how you can throw, and how, that is the biggest thing to do. Now, down below, a sidearmer, that's the guy that just teaches himself how to go sidearm, from the pitching mound. But saying like 3/4 to over the top, it just depends what your true throwing motion is. That's going to help you, because get on the mound, play catch with the catcher. And then you get your mechanics to where you can pop right where you want to throw it.
Jack, I remember that when I was in high school. I played 2 years of high school ball, and I didn't play any pony league ball or anything like that. So I went right from one of the lower 1 year little league into high school, and they tried to change my throwing motion completely. So I was naturally a 3/4 thrower. It's just what I did. And needless to say, the ball certainly, sometimes it got lost over the plate, I suppose. I mean, a little bit wild in the strike zone. It is what it is. But when I got to high school, they tried to get me to throw right over the top. And I understand mechanically why. I think maybe on the infield, that's a really good idea. Maybe for your third baseman and shortstop, so they're throwing on a line, and maybe that first baseman could scoop it up if it's in the dirt or something. But it was so hard to make that transition. It took me about a year to really kind of figure that out, and I still couldn't throw right over the top. It just wasn't my thing, because I had that like this here, and so that curveball would dip and dive. It would almost be like today's sweeper. They talk about that. What is this sweeper pitch that everyone talks about? Isn't it an old school curveball?
Well, the old school curveball, or a big time cutter that just happens to be downhill more. Yeah. Curveballs are just what they are. So, some guys are going to have the 12, think about what they used to say about our curveballs back in the day. A 12-6, a 2-8 curveball, one that goes that way. They would just say it as the clock numbers. That would be the different types of curveballs that people had.
Right. And Bert Blyleven was the master of that 12-6. From everything I've ever seen, there was nothing better than Bert. I sat next to Bert at a hockey game over in Anaheim. And it happened that I was like, I looked over, my buddy goes, "Hey, Bert's sitting next to you." I'm like, "I know." I said, I'm going to ask him. He goes, "Yeah, I know." And so right when I turned to Bert, before I even said a word, I said, "Hey, Bert." He goes, "Don't even say it. I will not teach you how to throw that curveball," if you know what I mean. He's like, "I got to kill you if I tell you." It's one of those. But he just had that perfect 12-6. But the reality is, look, either you knew how to throw it and you could pull it down to get that big hook off it, or you couldn't. And that was it. Right or wrong?
Yeah. I when I teach the kids, as they're growing up, to throw a curveball, what I will say is it really is, wherever you release the ball, karate chop the catcher. Karate chopping. And that's how you will get in the strikes. You go here, even if you're at the 3/4, karate chop the catcher. Straight over the top, karate chop the catcher. And then you're on the side of the ball comes out and you want it. And the other part, you're like, yes, just do that karate chop. I try to do it on the fastball too. Karate should go right through the catcher. Mm-hmm. Your ball will have some movement, but don't just yank it, because sometimes you'll yank it, you release it here, you'll yank it, you release it here. Guess what? That's striking balls.
Right.
Let your head and your front side be quiet. And the oomph is not that. The oomph in pitching is your arm. Quiet, oomph, throw.
I love the karate. I've never heard the karate chop analogy, and of course, that's great stuff. Now, Jack, you're also an instructor. You give private instruction for baseball, correct?
Yeah.
Take 1 minute and talk about that real quick for the audience.
Oh yeah, we have a batting cage and a mound here at our house, and anyone that wants to come out and hit. I told our 10-year-olds little league, they just had their postseason party. I told any of the kids, "Hey, you guys want to come this summer and hit and pitch anytime? Let's do it. Come on out." And we'll also play pepper in the front yard.
That's great. So if for everybody that doesn't know what pepper is, remember there was always those no pepper at the big league parks, right? And all that is, folks, I mean, look, you've got a few guys that are waiting to catch a ball. You got a guy with a bat, somebody throws them the ball, you got to hit the ball, and if somebody catches it on a fly, it's their turn to bat, etc. But they stopped playing that years ago in Major League parks. And as I understand it, Jack, it's the netting that was actually behind home plate was really installed because of pepper and not because of the games. What do you think?
Yeah, because they're trying to, you throw pitches, you're trying to get the guy not to get his hit, not to hit on the ground, and they pop it up right, foul it back, and that was pepper is kind of a smart way to learn how to hit because you aren't all swinging strong. All you're doing is taking the bat to the baseball, whether it's up here, down low, all over. It's almost at you. Well, you just got to get the bat there. It's not a super hard pitch. It's just a ball coming, and you learn where to put the bat, how to put the bat to control the hitting.
It's a good mechanical piece. Tell you what, folks, we're going to learn a little bit more about that and some other things in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus. And by the way, stickjack111@yahoo.com for this cool hat and this cool shirt. Make sure you email them right away. Back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Tampa Plenty Old Ballpark, friends. High pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you'd get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize, there's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about a congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products that don't do what they represent to do?
There's a smash to Squires. He's got it. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We're going to the bottom of the 7th now to score. All tied up. Milwaukee 4, the White Sox 4. Hey! Everybody! All right, Nancy, let me hear you. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back for its root. Root for the White Sox. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. And it is. Holy cow. This crowd is wild.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, or recorded shows, which I mentioned before, which are podcasts on all platforms, as well as check out our partners. One of those partners is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Yes! All right. And for great instruction on baseball, we just happen to be joined by a Cy Young Award winner, a 3-time All-Star, and by the way, also designer of these really cool hats and T-shirts, and that would be Jack McDowell, but you can call him Black Jack, or you can check him out at SickJack111 at yahoo.com to pick up these great hats and these great shirts, and of course, a nice round of applause. Jack's also a baseball instructor, and Jack really knows a lot about the game. A lot of people have asked for him to come back on a regular basis. Guess what? Jack is back here because he has so much knowledge on the game from a pitching standpoint, looking at what the hitters do. And Jack, I want you to talk about infielding position as you go deeper into a count. Do the infielders behind you move around on a pitch-by-pitch basis based on your pitch count?
Well, the most important thing of that is the true metrics that can help are, okay, this specific hitter, when he hits a ground ball, it's mostly here or mostly there. They know the end results of what the true results are. So guess what? On a fastball away, that we're going to try to do this, it's going to be over here, it's over here. So, you kind of, it's not always going to work perfect, but at least you have an idea. I'm not a big fan of the ultra shifts because, back in our day, if you did those big shifts, guys would just put a ball and play the opposite direction just for, an easy hit. They'd just play pepper with us.
So, Jack, talk more about the shift and how it has some success and how the game was designed to not necessarily have a shift, although they did it back in the old days.
Well, the shift is about how a guy hits the ball. So if a major league hitter cannot hit the ball opposite field or pull an inside pitch, you pull an inside pitch, hit an outside pitch oppo field, is that what's going on? That everyone's just trying to do one thing, which is overswing and over hit the ball out, so you're going to roll over on a pitch away?
Well, Jack, as I see it, a lot of players, when they move around, when they move their, let's put it this way, let's say as they get deeper into a count, right? Back in the old days, we knew they tried to put the ball in play. But in today's time, they still try to hit the ball out of the yard, right? So they're not getting up on the bat anymore. Now they're staying all the way down on the knob. And of course, their strikeout rate's going to be a lot higher because they're still trying to take it out of the yard. But in today's time, I go back to the top of the show when we were talking about Luis Ariz. He stays in his position and he doesn't stay away from or doesn't get away from what gets him success in Major League Baseball. And we're seeing the success rate for hitters as they go deeper into account get a lot less. And nowadays it's getting a lot worse. What do you have to say about that?
Well, yeah, I believe it. And here is the other thing, too. You have RBIs, right? Well, overall RBIs, I know the metrics people don't think that those are really mean anything. It's just because if a high RBI guy just has his other teammates are on base when he gets a hit. And so it's up to them what his RBI rate's going to be. Well, I always put it, why not, just like the strikeout rates, why not an RBI? Okay, what is the percentage when you have a guy in scoring position with less than 2 outs? What is this batter's percentage of knocking in an RBI? Is it less than his batting average? Is it more than his batting average? Is he getting it done, to get an RBI? That tells you who the smartest, better hitters are. Strikeouts as a pitcher are overrated too, because outs are outs. Doesn't matter. Strikeouts are great, but guess what? The strikeouts that matter are in situations where if a batter puts it in play, it's going to be an RBI, and you strike him out. So the strikeouts that should really matter are guy on third, nobody out. Second and third, less than 2 outs. Guy on third, less than 2 outs. So, all the guy has to do is put it into play, and he's going to score a run. But if you strike him out, that's an important strikeout. But nobody on base or a man on first, you strike him out, who cares?
Right.
Why wouldn't you double play? Why wouldn't who cares? It's just an out. Outs are outs.
Right. And Jack, situational strikeouts are just as important as situational baseball when that ball's coming at you. Where's that ball going to if you're the third baseman? Are you throwing it to first? Are you throwing it to second? What are you doing with that ball, right? So you got to know what you're doing with it. But situational pitching is much the same, isn't it?
Yeah, and what you talk about is where, as a defender, looking for the ball. It's one thing I like to teach is when you're in batting practice and you're playing defense during batting practice, read the swing, because you can kind of tell as you keep going and keep going and you see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every day. You can tell, it's an inside pitch and he's turning on it, it's going to be more this way. You can really get knowledge, a predetermined knowledge on where that ball is going to go. You have an idea. Pay attention, and wherever the swing is, move in that direction at every position. If you're in right field and it's an inside pitch and you see him swing, move to that gap, because guess what? If he happens to get down and inside it and pops it up over that way, that's a direction. So everybody can do that during batting practice. Work to check that out. And watch the swing, because you can see. I've been in baseball so long, I got out there in BP, and I can tell where the ball's going to go just because it's been in my eye and in my brain for so long.
Right. Jack, take 1 minute and talk more about why practice is important and why we don't see teams practicing anymore for the most part.
Well, my practice that I love at the younger age, and actually at any age all the way through, is live BP. And not live BP with your own pitchers. Live BP is you're the coach and you just throw a doo-doo fastball down the middle. Go ahead, hit it. So every pitch that you throw is put in play and just go. So everyone has to be ready every pitch. And think about it. You aren't just standing around for 7 pitches for every at bat, every batter. So you can get through an entire game of stuff that happens in about 30 minutes.
Jack, I'm going to take you away from baseball for the last couple minutes of the show, and I want you to talk real quick about your music and your CDs, because I've got a whole bunch of them here from you, and I want you to talk briefly about these. These are pretty exciting, folks. Now, if you haven't listened to some pretty good music, guess what? Jack's got a bunch of really good music right here. And Jack, talk a little bit about your abilities, what these CDs are, and what you like to do in your free time.
Well, yeah, all those CDs, those are from years and years ago, from the 90s.
Right?
2000s. And then the newest one, Replant My Lives, I kind of just did this year. Did it all myself at my house on my computer. First time I've done that. And it's just, Stick Figure was our second name. Our very first name as a band was The Bew. And then we changed it to Stick Figure.
Right.
That's what they called me in high school.
I like that car you're driving.
You're a stick figure because, go look at my rookie card.
Right.
6'5", 178 pounds. And so I was just a skinny rat.
Right.
So they called me Stick Figure, Stick Man. So I'm like, okay, I'm Stick Figure. So I made that logo. I love making logos and stuff like that, and I love doing songs.
Yeah, here's a good one right there.
Yeah, that's my original Stick Figure. That's the very first Stick Figure album.
What? Okay, so talk about that image real quick.
Yeah, that was just, they said, yeah, I'm going to come up with a Stick Figure image. And that was just, okay, that's just me sitting there.
Yeah. Right. These are cool, folks. And by the way, if you want to hear some pretty good music, check these out. And Jack, people can get those at stickjack111 at yahoo.com, right?
Yeah, I do them and sign them for them. And if they want to buy a CD, I can sign that and sign a baseball card for them too.
Talk about the music real quick. Take a minute and talk about the type of music that you play.
Well, it's rock and roll, basically. No, not so. It's pretty much, I guess it's just the normal rock and roll, and kind of continues a little bit towards that. There's some music, definitely some songs in there you can dance to too. Right. So it's a little bit of both.
I see that guitar up on the wall. What do you got hanging up there?
Well, we got the guitar, one guitar here, another couple guitars on the other side.
Yeah, I see Chief Wahoo on it too. Boy, too bad we lost Chief Wahoo.
Yeah, this was I got this. They gave it to me. The Gibson guitar people gave this to me when I was with the Cleveland Indians the first year. Because if you go back and look at history, that is when they started the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. And they knew that I was a rock person, rock and roll person.
You were about to say a rock star, weren't you?
Like, hey, will you help promote our new Hall of Fame here in Cleveland because you're a player? I was like, oh yeah, sure. What do you need me to do? Oh yeah, be on this, and do it, and we'll give you a guitar. And I was like, oh cool, that sounds good.
Hey, you were about to say rock star, weren't you?
Yeah, but I'm not a rock star because I was never with a big rock thing and you know how you get on radio mostly back in the day. It's a little different now, but how you got back on radio back in the day is they paid the radio station to play your song.
That's right. That's the old payola model.
Yeah, I never had that happen. So I didn't get a lot of, so a ton of people haven't even heard of any of my music.
Well,
Some people have heard of it, but not a lot.
Listen, Jack, we're rushing up on the end of the show here, but here's what we're going to do. On our next time through this, we're going to play Jack's music on every break. We're going to get 4 songs that he wants. Actually, we'll get 3 songs that he wants because we take 3 breaks, and we're going to go ahead and play them all the way through. And Jack, it's guaranteed to be played on the radio no matter what because these shows are taken in their entirety and played on air. So, hey, how about that? There's no payola involved here. You're going to get all that play. Jack, thanks for joining us today.
People listen to it and they go, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And, I haven't had the full band. We haven't been out on the road in a long time doing the sign, but I just want to keep being able to do music because the songs are fun. And, a lot of people, when they hear them, like, yeah, I really like this. This is cool.
That's good stuff. All right, Jack McDowell, Black Jack McDowell, Cy Young Award winner, 3-time All-Star, and, of course, league leader in wins in Major League Baseball as well. He's going to be back with us another time, and we're out of time here on The Circus. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time in about 23 hours. Until then, so long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.